You have been asked to prepare for a discussion on your organization's strategy.
But what exactly is strategy? Why do different people have different explanations on what strategy is? You may start wondering, what exactly is strategy? Is it about setting goals and a plan? Does having goals mean an organization has a strategy? What makes a goal strategic? How should an organization select its goals? Just because an organization has a long-term plan does not make it strategic. Many long-term plans fail to create impact. Many strategic documents are in the form of fake reports. Few people read them, and not all who read it understand them. Such strategies take a long time to develop. The external reality may have changed before they are completed.
What then is strategy? Do all organizations need strategy? What is the difference between strategic thinking and developing a strategic plan?
Before we answer these questions, let's begin by discussing what is not strategy. Many organizations claim to have a strategy. They are usually plans, goals and activities that have no strategic value. Richard Rummelt uses the term bad strategy to describe supposedly strategies that are in fact not strategic. Let's see what they are.
1. Bad strategies exist when leaders think having goals and objectives is the same as having a strategy. This happens when goals and objectives are set without assessing the issues faced by the organization.
This can also happen when goals and objectives are simply a collection of ideas brought together without assessing their relevance, importance and urgency.
In some cases, the goals and objectives selected are just more of what has been done in the past.
2. Bad strategies exist when leaders equate fluff with strategy.
This happens when the so-called strategy is filled with grandiose statements and cliché of the day, but provides little guidance on how to deal with the challenges faced by the organization. These grand statements sound ambitious, but fail to assess the internal capabilities of the organization. 3. Most fundamentally, bad strategies emerge when leaders fail to address the challenges faced by the organization.
This happens when leaders are insular, inward-looking and complacent. They simply fail to assess future challenges. This failure arises when leaders behave as though the world is at a standstill and there are no competitors out there. Sometimes leaders succumb to template-based thinking in developing their strategy. They go through the rigid process of deciding their mission, vision and goals but fail to analyze their environment. This is done in a vacuum and ignores key challenges.
What then is strategy?
Strategy has its origin in warfare. A key concern is how to outperform the enemy. A general must understand the competitive advantage he intends to use to beat his enemy. This understanding helps him organize his force to outmaneuver his opponent. Strategy is a framework on how an organization will manage and leverage its capabilities to compete effectively.
This framework defines the desired outcomes and the competitive advantage the organization intends to develop and deploy in the environment.
A strategy is the product of an assessment of the current and future competitive challenges facing the organization.
This framework also defines the organization's intent and serves as the basis for planning and sequencing of actions.
A plan has no strategic value if it does not address the challenges in the environment. It has no strategic value if the plan does not define the competitive advantage the organization should develop. Competitive advantage is key to winning in the market. A plan that is too broad and too vague to provide guidance for action and coordinate across the organization also has no strategic value.
Henry Mintzberg describes strategic thinking as a creative exercise that must precede strategic planning. Strategic thinking involves sense-making to understand and interpret the signals and information about the external environment and internal conditions. A strategist thinks more like a landscape architect. Strategic thinking is more like imagining and visualizing the design of a park.
Strategic planning is like preparing the lists of things that needs to be done. It is more like the work plan developed by the landscape contractors for his workers once the design has been decided.
So, before you organize a discussion on strategy, share this video with the participants. Otherwise, the discussion is going to be like four blind men trying to describe an elephant.